everybody, it's Ron Johnson, and this is the Ron Johnson Show on Locked On Sports Minnesota. I'm kind of happy to talk about the NBA draft right now because this Bronny, I know Sam's not a fan of Bronny, but I am. And so this Bronny, where he goes in the draft, I think is one of the most anticipated drafts. Not the players. There's a couple great players out there. We know that, maybe a handful. But where Bronny goes, J.J. Redick is now a coach in the NBA. Chris Finch, Kirk Cousins in hockey. We'll talk about all that much more coming up on the Ron Johnson Show.
Locked On Sports Minnesota Podcast. It's endless Minnesota Vikings talk with the diverse voices of your local experts. Now the Ron Johnson Show. On the field, in the broadcast booth, Ron Johnson is Minnesota sports. He's played with them, hung out with them, and grown up with all the big names in Minnesota sports. They're hanging out with Ron Johnson. It's the Ron Johnson Show on the Locked On Sports Minnesota Podcast. And it starts now.
Hey, everybody. It's a beautiful Tuesday in Minneapolis. No rain. It's been rain forever. And this looks like we're going to have sun all day. Couldn't ask for much more in the state of Minnesota, but I don't know where you guys are watching from. Thank you for joining me on the Ron Johnson Show. For those watching on Amazon Fire, Roku, those that are listening on the SXM app, and for those that are just on the platform that we all love, which is YouTube, and you're consuming this on YouTube, just make sure you download YouTube on your phone. You can subscribe using your email address, and then you'll get all the updates of all our shows. I want to thank you, everybody, for joining me today on the Ron Johnson Show. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. As the playoffs wind down, the sports stop sporting like we want them to. I mean, come on, think about it. It's not what it used to be without playoff sports. But this is summer, and FanDuel is hooking up all the customers with a boost or a bonus daily. That's right. There's something for everyone every day, all summer long. Just visit FanDuel.com/locked-on to get started. I mean, who wouldn't want a boost or a bonus every day? Just check out FanDuel.com. Again, that's FanDuel.com/locked-on to get started. Well, like I said, we're going to talk about the Vikings. As I bring my producer to the show, we're going to talk about the Vikings a little bit. We're going to talk about the NBA draft and where Bronny's going to go. We're going to talk about hockey because it's over. It's over. I thought, and I'll talk about this too, Sam. I thought that the Oilers were going to pull it off because of, and this is the only reason I know about the Oilers, and I'm sorry, I hate to say it. I don't know if you saw this, Sam, but the gal at the game that's a super fan. Let's just call her that. She's a super fan. And she was good luck because they were down 3-0. Well, they got there first. They were down 3-0. And, you know, she wanted to make sure that she knew how much she loved their team. And it was good luck. They were down 3-0. They came back and forced a game 7. And I'll talk about this in the Daily 3, Sam, but she made the card. I don't know if you've seen her newest video, Sam, but she kind of jinxed the team is what people are saying. I didn't know some of the things she did were a jinx. But when she did it, everybody started commenting, oh, Panthers all the way now. Florida in 7. Like they're going to win this. And so, Sam, I don't know if you probably haven't seen the video, Sam.
Not the original. Haven't seen the original. I saw her response to the original.
Under the Bridge?
I think so. Yeah. She
has a new response now, Sam.
Okay.
She has a second response in her house. And I'll explain that coming up in the Daily 3. But we got to get into this Wolves talk, Sam. So the draft starts tomorrow. The NBA, so this is the first. I'm gonna go with this. The NBA trying to do multiple day drafts like the NFL, Sam. What are your thoughts on that? I personally don't like it. I think that it's hard enough to watch the first round of the NBA nowadays because you don't know half the people. And you think you're gonna get us for a second day? I mean, but what are your thoughts on it?
Well, they've buried the second day in the afternoon, I think. They're putting it on like Thursday afternoon. So I don't know who's watching that. I don't know more than 1 or 2 players that will get drafted in the second round. The only reason that this year it might be interesting is Bronny. But any ordinary year, you don't know anybody in the second round of the NBA draft. So I think they're trying a little too hard. I'm not sure what the purpose was of it. Maybe they're trying to sell more advertising. Might be a money grab. I don't know. But I don't love it. I'd like to just knock it out all in one night.
Yeah, I really don't get it. I don't understand the whole thought process behind it. I understand the money and where the NFL did it, but it's a different beast. Like the NFL, the way they're doing it, it's a totally different beast. And when you look at some of these draft names, like some guys, I will say, and I'm going to say his name wrong. I think it's Necht or Connect. But the kid out of Tennessee, Dalton Connect, I don't know if you watched the tournament, but he made himself some money in the tournament. Like he played lights out. He was a beast. I even said it. I was like, oh man, this would be a perfect fit because he's not a scorer per se. He's a hustle guy. He can score at the small forward position, but he's a hustle guy. He's 6'6", 212 pounds. In the NBA, the problem is, I don't know if he's a power forward in the NBA. But he feels like a guy that could play in that small ball system of the West, where you think about if you were to put Anthony Edwards, Dalton Connect, and Mike Conley on the floor at the same time, going against, let's say, the Warriors, that gives you a guy that you can put on that third guard with the Warriors. Like if you put Anthony Edwards on Steph, let's just say he wants Steph and he wants to chase Steph a little bit to shut him down. Now you could put Dalton on what's his name? On Clay. I mean, you still have Jade McDaniels and Naz Reid, which I think go to the bigs, and then you would have Karl-Anthony Towns, in my opinion, at the 5. Now, we've talked about this. I don't know what's going to happen if they trade him. But guys like that did make themselves some money in the NCAA tournament. But these other names, Sam, the first pick, what is it? Zachary Reichescher. I don't even know how to say his last name right, but Alex Sarr, both out of France. These are two of the names they're saying are supposed to be, guys you want to go after. Reed Shepherd out of Kentucky, the shooting guard. It's just like you look at these names, Sam, and I don't know if you've done it, but nothing jumps off the screen to me. Jared McCain, we just know the name. Like we know the name from Duke, but he's down at the 15th potential pick. He's the 15th best prospect right now. Zach Edey out of Purdue. Like I'm looking at guys that are lower round picks, but we know their names from the NCAA tournament. So for me to have it on day 2, 2 days of this, I'm not sticking around because if I go to the third page and it's going to give me, the 50s, Bronny James is the 55th right now by ESPN. He's the 55th ranked prospect right now. This is best available on the board, regardless of position. Bronny James is 55th. When you look at Jalen Bridges, Antonio Reeves out of Kentucky, it's the names. That's why I see teams saying like, look, why would I go get, for instance, KJ Simpson out of Colorado, point guard, when I can get Bronny James, who's the 55th prospect? Like, one, he brings way more marketing dollars. He brings a lot of attention to our team for Summer League. Why wouldn't I do that? But Sam, I don't know. What are your thoughts on this with Bronny James? Again, we've gone back and forth with this NBA draft. What are your thoughts on today? And are you still on the don't take Bronny in the first round, or where are you at?
Yeah. So if I'm the Wolves, they pick 27 and 37.
Yep.
The Wolves, my argument that I made on the roundtable is that the Wolves need to add talent that's ready now to complement the roster because they're super expensive. They need cheap talent that can contribute early, not a project, someone that can come in and play. And I think Chris Finch has even said this. They're looking at the older guys. They want someone who's mature physically and mentally, 23, 24-year-olds, the 5-year college players that can come in and they can hold their own on an NBA court.
True.
There's a lot of those type of guys. I just don't think that at the stage of like the championship window the Wolves are in, I don't think you want to add projects. I think Bronny is a project. Now, is your goal to lure LeBron? Is your goal to get marketing dollars? If that's the goal, or to have the chance to lure LeBron, maybe that's the play. But I think the Wolves are more interested in adding some talent that can help them win right now. And I just don't see that with Bronny. I think that 55, you mentioned he's ranked. That's perfect. That's where the Lakers pick, number 55 in the second round. That's how convenient that he be ranked 55th. I think that's a good landing spot for him with that.
See, the ESPN set that up on purpose.
I do. I think that they've coalesced with the Lakers on this. But I look at the back end of the first round, and that's actually where it's way more intriguing to me because these are some guys that we watched in the tournament. The Cam Christie of the Gophers is in there. Yep. Terrence Shannon from Illinois, Kyle Filipowski of Duke. I mean, those are some dudes that had pretty good college careers that we watched and could go in and help an NBA team right away. I think Tyler Kolek of Marquette, someone that I really like. So I'm actually more interested in the second half of the first round than the first half because those early 12 picks, a lot of foreign guys, a lot of G League guys who I've never seen play. So that to me is much less interesting.
Yeah, other than Donovan, like out of UConn, Donovan Clingan, that's the only one, the center, where you're like, oh yeah, I kind of saw that guy play, because again, you're right. You got some G League guys in here. You got, Stephen Castle out of UConn as well. But like I said, Dalton Connect, when you think about his tournament, and maybe I was just watching a ton of Tennessee because they were, I picked them to go a little bit further in my bracket. But they were actually like, he looked like a dog when it came to that game. And that's where I'm going. But yeah, you got another guy out of France, Nikola Topic out of Serbia, not a center. So you're not getting Jokic, but you are getting a point guard out of Serbia. You got Devin Carter out of Providence. I don't know how much Providence you watch. You got Ron Holland out of the G League as well. And then you get down to 15 and 16. So that's when you start to see the guys like the back. And you're right, the back half of the first round, you're starting to see guys like you got Zach Edey, Jeremy Kane, Kyle Filipowski, which is so weird. And Sam, and let's talk about this real quick. Filipowski, when you think about that at 21, would you be opposed if somehow the Timberwolves could pull that off to jump up and get him and go to 21, or, if depending on where he falls, maybe he falls lower, but to get him and then trade Cat?
Trade Cat. Oh,
trade Cat.
Curveball. That was a big curveball. I didn't know you were going to go there.
I mean, because
trade
he's a power
Cat.
forward. So I don't know if, like, what is your value for trading Rudy? Do you know what I mean? Like, do you get now again, if in a perfect world, this is what I would want. In a perfect world, I would say trade Rudy, take whatever you can get, dump that salary, but then you have to pick, you told me those rules. You have to pick up guys to kind of fill up that salary.
Yep.
Fill it up with whatever. You might cut those guys. You might do whatever. You might take some cap hits by doing it, but you can get Kyle Filipowski in that spot. Or maybe you trade with a team who's up there that says, look, we'll give you this pick and you give us Rudy. And we'll take Kyle because they did that with what's his name? Utah did that. They the Timberwolves got Rudy and they took what's his name? Kessler, Walker Kessler. So again, Kyle Filipowski, we've seen him play. Now he did get exposed a little bit in a tournament, but not like a bad way. It was just more like, well, he's not what we thought he was. Like he was, originally, remember coming into it, they were saying like, oh, he's the potential top 5 pick. He's and then slowly but surely, I don't know if he is. But would you be opposed to adding him as a piece to that puzzle to maybe come off the bench as another power forward option?
So Filipowski as a player like him would take him. I don't know if a like apples for apples replacement for Cat. I think no,
you're not going to find anybody.
The Kessler Gobert thing is rare. It's rare that you trade Diggs and get Jefferson in the NBA. Usually you gotta, when you trade a player of Cat's caliber, you gotta get a player back in the trade, a veteran who can fill that spot. Usually you can't fill those kind of gaps with rookies. It just, the NBA is harder. It's a harder.
And that's why I took Cat out of that, because I'm like, that wouldn't work with Cat looking at these draft picks. But I think like, and again, Rudy's defense is unprecedented, but today's NBA doesn't drive to the lane like they used to. Like that was a big thing. We need a rim protector. You're not having guys like try to dunk on people all the time anymore. Like it's become a perimeter game where everybody's like hanging out around even the forwards are hanging out around the 3-point line. And so like, I feel like Filipowski, he's a kid that can hang out around the 3-point line. He's a kid that can defend the 3-point line. When you look at, even though he says he's a power forward, he's 6'11", 230 pounds, and he's still a kid. So again, that's the only thing I thought about is you like in the NBA, even though he's 6'11", he could be your center. Like he could play with Cat on the floor at the same time, and he spreads the floor out as well, can hit the three. They're calling him a skilled 7-footer who can shoot. That's the only thing I look at. Like if you get him and get rid of Rudy, you add another shooter, because Rudy can't shoot. Like he clogs the lane for Anthony Edwards. And then the way this team plays, if you add Filipowski, you get rid of Rudy. So trade Rudy for Filipowski. Not say straight up, but you can find a way to say, hey, we want this pick, we'll give you Rudy and whatever. You get Filipowski, now you added a stretch 5. That's a stretch. And now you got Cat who can shoot out wide. You got Filipowski who shoot out wide. Filipowski, though, unlike Cat, is willing to get in the post. And we've seen that during the tournament. He will put his back to the basket. He will back a guy down. But if he has a guy on him that's bigger, he can pull him out to the top. And now he's put you in a mismatch up top, and he can shoot, he can dribble. They say his weaknesses in the ACC West, his consistency as a shooter and lack of physicality. That's the thing. Like, he's not a rim protector. But do you need that anymore in the NBA? Like, are you getting guys? That's the other reason why I said, like, if it was the Zach Randall one. That's why I like Zach Randall, because of physicality. Like, he adds that physical atmosphere to the Timberwolves that they don't have right now. But if you're going to be a true spread guys out, let Anthony Edwards be. Because think about this with the T-Wolves. When they realized Steph and Clay were the guys, they took all the bigs out. They took JaVale McGee and all those guys out. Like, they went and got Andrew Wiggins, and they went, like, they were like, let's spread this out. Let's let these guys create. If they drive, nobody's down there to stop them. If you crash, we got guys that can shoot. If they crash in Anthony Edwards, you got Filipowski that can knock down a shot. You got Naz Reid that can knock down a shot. You got Jade McDaniels that can knock down a shot. You got Cat that can knock down a shot. You got Mike Conley. Rudy Gobert doesn't give you that. Now, he does give you the dribble, drive, pass, and lay it up, but I'm pretty sure a lot of bigs can give you that. Like, he's not what he used to be, where he's catching alley-oops and dunking on everybody. Like, Joker creates. I don't know. I mean, this might be a stretch, but I just think the Timberwolves, like, again, this is just a name I know. I know there's other prospects these guys would be looking at, but to be down in the 21s and you pick 27th, I mean, I don't know. Why not? Because, like, in your opinion, and this is me, do you think Rudy Gobert, because, like, his weaknesses are physicality and consistent shooting, but they call him a shooter, a skilled big man shooter that can handle the ball, but his weakness is he doesn't consistently take the shot. So maybe one is that Duke not telling him to take the shot? Is that him being worried about it? But he's not physical. Is Rudy, I mean, in your mind, is Rudy Gobert still that physical guy? Like, I don't know. I don't see Rudy as a physical guy. I see him playing down there, but I don't know.
I think the visual of watching Rudy Gobert can be frustrating, but the numbers don't lie. Like, what's your line, Ron? No, men lie, women lie. Numbers don't lie.
Yeah.
That's
Jay-Z's line, by the way.
Lie. There you go. Yeah, I'll give it to RJ. The impact he has statistically can't be questioned. When he's on the floor, he reduces other teams' output by 10%, 20%, and he does it more with, I think, his movement and his length than his physicality. If he's one-on-one against, like, Joker, he's getting bullied. But the way that he intercepts those slashing wingers and gets his arms up and affects the shot, the way that he can drop and, make multiple motions in a single defensive sequence, that's the real secret sauce with Rudy. It's not the physicality. You're absolutely right. He's not Shaq whatsoever. It's more, I think, about a head game with him and knowing when to use his length correctly. Filipowski, I don't think he replaces that impact defensively. No, but also the Wolves are probably better offensively without Rudy. So I think you have to weigh the two options. Are you willing to give up more on the defensive end? And I don't know if the Wolves are built that way right now. I think they really like being the top defensive team in the league.
True. And that's the thing. Like, I'm never going to doubt that defense wins championships. Like, we go back to the, back when Scottie Pippen, because everybody keeps, like, I've seen all these posts now about Michael Jordan versus LeBron and Scottie Pippen and adding all these pieces. And Jordan never won until he got Scottie Pippen. Jordan never won without Phil Jackson, all that kind of stuff. All that's true. And what did Scottie Pippen bring? He brought a defensive mindset, a physicality, we're better than you. Now, again, when you're playing with Michael Jordan, you probably feel better. Like, Scottie without Jordan wasn't the same guy either. Scottie in Portland definitely wasn't the same guy. But, like, playing with Michael Jordan gives you that. And that's what I think, like, Kevin Durant playing with Steph Curry was lights out. Like, he became an MVP of the league. He became an MVP of the finals. With Steph Curry. But without Steph Curry, KD is questionable at times. Like, he doesn't always take the right shot. He doesn't always like to pass the ball when he should. And I think that's the key is Steph Curry gives you that, like, we got a chance to win any game with this kid on the floor when he was younger and healthier. Now he's getting a little bit older, he's getting a little bit slower. But that's what the Warriors had in that run with Steph Curry. Who knows if it's over for them or not, because everybody's saying that's over. But with the Timberwolves, I don't know, being defensive led, I just question it. But going back to the A topic of this, and we'll get out of here with this, and we'll get over to the next topic and talk a little football and hockey and everything else in the Daily Three. But would you be opposed to them taking Bronny at 37, Sam? If Bronny's there, would you be opposed to them taking? That's a backup to Mike Conley. Marketing dollars for Minnesota. The Bron family is going to show up to some games whenever. Like if LeBron's not playing and Bronny's playing, LeBron might, if that happens, LeBron probably would make sure the league schedules the Lakers games and the Timberwolves games opposite each other. But also the Lakers would come to Minnesota to play more. And I'm pretty sure the Timberwolves would go to the Lakers play a little bit more because they would want to see LeBron on the floor with his son. Like, would you be opposed to 37 taking Bronny?
I mean, I think I would be. I think that you can get a more productive player with 37 and let Bronny, when you bring in Bronny, you're bringing in a lot of attention for someone who probably won't contribute a lot right away.
True.
And
True.
yeah, I just don't know if I necessarily want that. I also am not sure like where Bronny fits exactly. He's kind of undersized, can defend a little bit. That's probably the best part of his game right now. He's going to have to get a lot better as a shooter for me to really buy in to Bronny as a 3-and-D kind of player. He's not going to be his dad, and that's going to be like he's got the weight of the world on his shoulders, and that would be a tough environment for any kid to be in. So I'd rather stay away. I wish him all the success in the world, but I think that because of his lineage, I just think that he's going to get drafted probably higher than most guys would with his resume.
But we would have SportsCenter coverage nonstop all summer.
I'm not in it for the attention, Ron. I'm in it for the championships. I don't need the media.
And Bronny might come on the basketball party. I mean, his PR team's going to be looking for like, how do we set stuff up to get Bronny acclimated to Minnesota? Hey, bring him on a basketball party. Let's pick that brain. His dad's got a podcast. Come on our podcast.
Bronny, his dad
Bronny
needs
and
a
Ronnie
new podcast co-host now that JJ Redick's gone. So how about Bronny, Bron, and Ron, a three-way conversation? I think
like
that sounds pretty good.
3 the hard way. I like that.
Ooh.
I like that. But we got to talk about the Wolves. They kept Chris Finch and also JJ Redick. Speaking of needing a new podcast co-host, JJ, and there's some tweets and stuff going out now about JJ Redick's resume, I guess you want to call it. People aren't happy. People are not happy with the fact that he got a job after coaching a team in Summer League, but they buried the lead. We'll talk about all that and much more coming up next after a word from our sponsors.
Brought to you today by FanDuel Sportsbook. I love sports. Ron loves sports. But now that hockey's done, the NBA is done, we get less sports. The sports aren't sportsing quite like we want them to. Fortunately, we still got WNBA. Fortunately, we still got MLB. And FanDuel is keeping the sports alive on the FanDuel Sportsbook app. I'm looking at the Lynx line right now. They are underdogs tonight against the New York Liberty, a clash of the Titans, plus 5.5. Plus 198 on the money line. You can bet the red hot Lynx at FanDuel, and you might be able to do it with a booster bonus because this summer FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a booster bonus daily. That's right, something for everyone every day all summer long. Head to FanDuel.com/lockedon. Start making the most out of your summer. FanDuel.com/lockedon. FanDuel, an official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball.
Well, Chris Finch stayed with the Timberwolves. Also, the GM, Tim Connelly, stayed with the Timberwolves. Now, we don't know what the long-term ramifications are. We don't have the ownership stuff done yet. But JJ Redick becomes a coach. Like Chris Finch extended, but now JJ Redick becomes a coach. Now, this is what's crazy is if Chris Finch was just extended and nothing else happened with JJ Redick, Chris Finch would probably be one of the top stories with because the people say like, oh, well, if he's extended and maybe that means like Tim Connelly's kind of gave him an idea of what he thinks. Maybe he has an understanding of what the ownership is going to look like. But then JJ Redick gets a job. So first, let's go with the extension, Sam. Chris Finch is extended. What are the terms? How long is it? And what does that look like for Minnesota?
Yeah, the terms are not public yet. We'll probably have to wait for a Woj-bomb to tell us, but he's extended through 2027-28, so a 4-year deal. I don't think this was terribly unexpected. I think that we always assumed Chris Finch would be back after what he's done the last 3 years. Hopefully next year he's got his leg brace off and can walk the sidelines again. We wish him the best in that recovery. But I just think the contrast is interesting, Ron, right? You've got one side here in the Wolves that is valuing continuity and consistency, and they're trying to keep the coach and the GM and the players kind of intact. And then you got the Lakers, who are changing out coaches every couple of years. What's the longest that LeBron has had a head coach in the last decade? I'd like to look that up because they've now switched again.
I think Spoelstra. It would have been the Miami.
Probably the 4 years with Spo. You're right. Yeah,
that's it. Because every other team he's gone to, he's blown it up at somehow, like getting Ty Lue, getting Darvin Ham. Now Darvin Ham's out of there. Like he's blown it up every year, just about every year or two with every other team. When you look at Cleveland, who is it? Cleveland, LA, Miami, right? Those are the three.
And Miami's the only team where he didn't
blow it up.
Change.
Yep,
yeah.
He did not blow it up. So Spo might have been the only one, which was that 4 years.
Yep, 4 years.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. So that's it.
Yeah. That's and you've got the Lakers that just can't figure out any kind of continuity at that position. So I think that's interesting. But good for Chris Finch, and I think that he's the right guy for the job. It seems like the guys really respect him. He's steady. Might have gotten out coached in the Western Conference Finals, but I thought he did a great job in the previous 2 rounds. So we'll keep rolling with our guy Finchy, and we'll see what the Lakers can do with JJ Redick, which is going to be one of the most scrutinized coach-player relationships ever with JJ and LeBron, right? I mean, how is he going to coach his podcasting buddy? Like, how is he going to tell him that he's not doing the right thing? I feel like that's going to be a tough dynamic.
True. Because when you think about the way it's gonna like, and so again, I don't know if you saw the press conference when the first question was, what advice did LeBron give you? And he said, "Oh, me and LeBron like didn't talk. We didn't talk until like 30 minutes after the Lakers offered me the job. I didn't want to talk to him beforehand because I didn't want to have any like edge into getting the job." And then I don't know if you heard the press. Somebody in the back is like, "Oh, like, you know, like somebody in the back says like, yeah, right," or something like that. Like you got to watch the presser back. It's on Twitter. It's the funniest thing. Somebody in the back is like, "Man," it's almost like they thought they were so far back that you wouldn't be able to hear them. But I don't know what type of mic the Lakers were using or whoever picked that audio up. Somebody picked that because it's not from the main mic. It's from somebody else's audio. So whoever posted it must have been near that guy, because it is not like and JJ or the Lakers don't react. So my guess is they didn't hear it. So it's probably far back enough they didn't hear it, but it got picked up by somebody else's mic. That's why I've always been told at pressers, be careful what you say, because you never know whose mic is hot. Like you might not be close enough to the team or the player, but somebody's recording close to you. And so, so that guy got recorded in the back saying like, and then somebody tweeted it like, this reporter is all of us right now, because it's like, yeah, right. There's no way you didn't call LeBron or LeBron didn't call. You guys are sitting there about to record a podcast, and he's like, "Man, it'd be so cool for you to be my coach, man. Like, think about all the plays." And this is the thing too. Somebody was like, LeBron's rubbing off on JJ because they call him Le Cap on the internet, which he always lies. And because he said like, I could flip a play, which I like have the basketball talk. Sometimes LeBron they try to use. It's like too smart. Like I get what they're trying to get, because they're trying to be like really like this is basketball talk, man, and I want you to drop your best play. And the stuff they're doing is great, because my guess is they're trying to get YouTube and Instagram, and you know it doesn't work for audio because what they're doing is not audio driven. Like they're not talking out the play, they're drawing it up on like a board. And they're like, well, look, if you do this and you do this, instead of doing this, why not drop a guy down? And, and they're doing this. And instead of doing this, instead of dropping the guy down, why not do this? And then go this way. And then you go down. And then this guy, instead of this guy being the passer, this guy becomes a passer. And then JJ's like, I don't know why people don't do that. And it's like, he said he was able to flip a play, which I'm guessing means run the play, but then reverse it. I don't know. Mm-hmm. He said he's able to flip a play at 9 to 10 years old. And he said when he did it, one of his coaches, which normally it's a parent, so stop lying. One of his coaches was like, "Oh man, how are you able to do that? Like you're so smart." 9, 10, right? Literally goes on another interview, And they asked him a question about basketball and, his kids and blah, blah. He's like, I didn't really start playing basketball until I was like 5th, 6th grade. It's like, wait a minute, you just said you were in a competitive league at 9 and you were flipping plays, and now you're over here and you never played before until you were like, so it's just like, dude, stop lying so much. And so JJ Redick, that's what they're saying. They're saying it rubbed off on JJ Redick now because he's just lying for no reason. Like, it's okay to say, yeah, I asked LeBron and he was like, hey, do what your heart tells you. Like, don't be like, me and LeBron didn't talk about coaching at all. Like, we've never talked about it. And then 30 minutes after I got offered, then I called him and then he told me, and that's why I accepted the job. Like, shut up, stop lying. But the one thing I did want to bring up is JJ Redick, 4th grade. He was a coach for Summer League NBA, 4th grade. That's his only coaching experience. And people are like pissed off about that. Now, I don't know if there's other stuff in there, but that's the stuff they're putting on his resume right now as a joke that he's never coached. He coached 4th grade Summer League, and now he's an NBA coach for the Lakers. I don't know if it's a dog and pony show. I don't know if they're just doing what LeBron wanted, and let's get somebody in here that can handle LeBron's ego. Because maybe LeBron has so much respect. This is the thing. LeBron's never really had respect for some of these coaches. Like Spo, he respected Eric Spoelstra. I don't think he ever respected Ty Lue at first. Like now he does. But I don't think he really respected him at first. You think about some of the coaches he had and the lack of respect he probably had for them for whatever reason. I think JJ Redick has a different friendship with LeBron. One, they work together. So if you screw that up, our podcast is done. Our friendship is done. You disrespect me, it's done. Like, I'm not going for that. I can get on TV and I can go back to ESPN and get paid a lot of money. I don't need this. So I don't know. Maybe they're thinking JJ Redick is the perfect match because LeBron won't disrespect him because they do have a friendship. And maybe that's part of it. At LeBron's age right now, 39 almost, or 38, something like that, or 37. I can't remember how old he is. Like maybe there's a respect thing there. Like he is as old as some of these younger coaches coming to the league. He played against some of these coaches. Like they're showing games now where LeBron played against a coach and now that coach is coaching for a team. So, I mean, maybe the JJ Redick thing is a respect thing, but when you look at the Chris Finch lead being buried and the extension and all that stuff, it's just because this is the JJ Redick piece is going to take over the internet. I don't know. What do you think JJ Redick deserves his job, or what were your thoughts on that one?
The rule book seems to get thrown out a little bit when LeBron is on the team because LeBron pulls the strings.
True.
He certainly is not. He's not as qualified as a lot of other coaches, but I think he's got a pretty good basketball mind, and I think some young guys might look up to him. But this comes down to, does LeBron have enough respect for him? Mm-hmm. And I think the answer is yes, but maybe they're a little too friendly. There has to be a little bit of coach-player, respect, and they're not, because I think LeBron probably views them as peers, right? But it also comes down to, can JJ get the most out of LeBron's supporting cast? Can he coach them up and give him more than they've given him the past couple of years? Because, I mean, that Lakers team from last year lasted 5 games in the playoffs. Right. So there's a lot of work to be done with that Lakers roster. I don't think it's getting a lot better either. So JJ's got to get to D'Lo, right? He's got to get to Anthony Davis. It's not just about LeBron. It's about the other guys too.
Yeah, that's the thing. I wonder, because we've seen like LeBron break records. We've seen LeBron have tributes in the middle of games, and we've seen like teammates react different ways. Like Anthony Davis was more mad about the fact they weren't winning, and it wasn't like he was disrespecting LeBron breaking the record. He was just like, man, we're out here losing, and y'all out here celebrating this man getting whatever it was. I think it was the points. Maybe he made that free throw to get the points, and they like stopped the whole game. Had a whole like press conference in the middle with a microphone, and lights came down, and Bill Russell, I think, was it Bill Russell's record? Is that who it was?
All-time points.
Or was it Kareem?
Kareem.
Yeah, so Kareem, because Kareem was there with his jacket on, and Kareem came out there, and like his family was there, and it was just a lot, and so all of that type of stuff too, some of these players, it probably wears on them over time. Like, dude, like, what else do we have to do for this man? Like, what else do we? And they did win the Mickey Mouse Championship in the bubble, but they haven't done anything since. Like, that was the modified year. That was the year where if you're built like an AAU team, you can win because you're all stuck in a hotel. You're playing you're practicing in the lobby of a hotel pretty much. I mean, they had a convention center type setup for practices. I just don't know. Like, I don't know if this LeBron has it the way the roster's constructed now because Anthony Davis doesn't stay healthy long enough. Like, for LeBron to be his age and never really miss games, and Anthony Davis to be younger and constantly, like every time he goes up for a layup and he comes down or a rebound, you have to wonder, is he gonna, like, is his back gonna go out? Is his leg gonna hurt? Because somebody brought this up too about 7-footers that are athletic like that. Over time, their joints and muscles is just a lot for them to hold, to take care of. Like, and Anthony Davis is that. He's not super strong. Like, he's not Zach Randall, or he's not built like a Zach Edey, and he's super, bigger and compacted like Cat. Cat's a bigger 6'11" guy. Anthony Davis is a skinnier guy. And so is this roster set up the right way? But I don't know. I don't know. But going back to Chris Finch, I mean, we'll see what happens with JJ Redick. Going back to Chris Finch real quick. If he's extended through 2028, Sam, do you feel like there was some promises maybe told to him? Because we haven't seen the language, the terms, and all that kind of stuff. But do you feel like there were some things maybe told to him that makes him want to be a part of this organization longer? And maybe even, with Tim Connelly? Or do you think it's just like, hey, I'm a NBA head coach, is hard to get anyway. I don't care who's the owner. I don't care who's the GM.
I think that's it. I think that he just wants to be a coach. I think that he'll coach for Glenn. He's obviously coached for Glenn the last 3 years, so he's okay with that. He'll coach for A-Rod and Laurie. He's probably just appreciative to have the job, and now he's got the security. But also, coaches get fired mid-contract all the time, so he still has to perform. It doesn't give him the ultimate job security, but it does, lock him into a certain dollar amount now for the next 4 years. What the Pistons coach, right? Like, he signed that big deal, got fired. He still gets that money. So now even if Chris Finch falters in the next 2 years, he still gets that money. So he's got personal security financially, and that's a win for him.
One more segment coming up. We're going to talk about the Daily Three, Stanley Cup, Vikings question of the day, and AAA baseball is doing something I think the whole world might want to start doing. And we'll talk about that, all that much more coming up next. But I want everybody to know SiriusXM is a proud partner of Locked On Sports Minnesota. Just go to the SXM app, search SXM on whatever app market you're using, download it, and then search Locked On Sports Minnesota, and you can get all of our shows and our content. Well, Sam, it's time for the Daily Three. That's 3 questions, 3 minutes each. Take it away.
All right, Ron, question number 1. Let's go to Game 7 Stanley Cup final last night. Edmonton trying to come back from 3-0 down in the series, and Florida fends them off with a dramatic 2-1 win for their first Stanley Cup. Your reaction to the big game last night?
Oh, well, I didn't watch much of it, to be honest. I did because I started seeing the tweets about the gal, and this is where this goes, Sam. So the first video, we know she was at the game. She lifted her t-shirt up and her jersey, and nothing was under there. And so that was the first video. She got super famous. We know girls now are getting famous. People are getting famous, like the dude that did the dance at all those stadiums now. I mean, everybody's trying to figure out some TikTok or some way to get famous. I don't think she meant to do it to get famous. I think she just was doing it. And she got famous. All of a sudden, the Oilers power back. I'm pretty sure maybe a couple hockey dudes hit her up. Hey, thanks for your support. Whatever. She said her DMs have been both positive and also negative. Well, her most recent video, Sam, she's in her house in her shower. So, of course, shower outfit, which you would shower in. But she's wearing a baseball cap, and she has a beer in the shower with her, or some kind of drink. And so people are applauding her for the shower beer. But then everybody said a hat in the shower is ultimate bad luck. And so she wore the hat in the shower. She was talking about she's going to have something on her page or a link on her page or something. She's trying to cash in now. She's like, oh shoot, I didn't realize I was going to get this much, publicity from this. So she's trying to cash in. She has some kind of link where you can go to her page and see something. But the hat, she wore the hat in the shower. And that's what people are saying. That's the ultimate bad. I've never heard that. Have you heard that before?
The shower hat?
Yeah. Like wearing a baseball cap in the house.
Deranged behavior. Yeah. That's strange.
But have you ever heard that was bad luck? Like, have you ever heard of that correlation?
No, I haven't. I think people are just making it up as they go along. They're just seeing that and saying, all right, that's a little crazy. Now it's bad luck. They've decided it was bad luck after seeing it.
Because when she did it, she was like doubling down. Some people are saying like, oh, she's spiraling out of control. Some people were like, oh, let me go to FanDuel right now and put everything on the Florida Panthers to win. And of course they lost. The Oilers lost. She jinxed it. But Connor McDavid wins the MVP. And so the conversation became now is like, is he still the best? Or can he be considered the Michael Jordan of the NHL without winning? And Charles Barkley said, no, right away. You got to win. What are your thoughts on that? Can Connor McDavid still be considered the best or the greatest of all time without actually winning a ring or a cup?
Hockey is maybe the ultimate team game, even more than football. Whereas, football, I think, is very quarterback driven. Hockey stars need to be surrounded by talent. They themselves cannot do it alone. Right. Alexander Ovechkin might be the greatest goal scorer ever. And it took him well over a decade to win a cup. And he got one. And he's probably only going to get one. Connor McDavid is doing things that nobody's ever done before in the sport of hockey. Mm-hmm. And he might never get another chance like this because it does require all four lines to be cohesive. You need to have a good coach and a good goalie. There's just a lot of elements. And when you're a top hockey player, Ron, at most you're playing half the game. There's half the game where you're not on the ice, maybe 2/3 of the game where you're not on the ice.
Because it's like 90-second lines, right? That's
yeah, quick shifts. You're taking turns with your teammates. So I don't think it's really a strong, I don't think you can say that really. It's not the same sport. Basketball, there's 5 guys on the floor. In hockey, there's 18 skaters in a given game, 19 skaters in a given game that you have to rely on. So I think it's different. I think you still got to give Connor McDavid all the credit in the world. He's incredible. And I wouldn't detract the teams that win a lot of Stanley Cups they're usually super deep teams, and they might have a couple stars, but not necessarily superstars. Mm-hmm. I think that McDavid still deserves a lot of credit.
So when you think about this, because I know this comes up a lot, quarterbacks in the NFL, because you just said ultimate team game. It depends on their offensive line. It depends on their coach and plays they're calling. It depends on what type of offense they're in. It depends if the receivers are going to catch the ball. I don't know if you've ever looked at this, but do you know where Kirk Cousins falls on the NFL all-time leading passers by yards?
All-time leading
all-time. So you know what number he's at?
Yeah, so just quick math. He started 9 years, I think, full-time. Mm-hmm. So 9 years times... He's probably got about 35,000 yards. I mean, is he top 20?
39,000 yards.
39,000 yards.
He's 600 yards away from actually 530 yards away from 40,000 yards. Mm-hmm. So where do you think he falls?
Yeah, I mean, there's got to be a couple dozen quarterbacks that have done that. I mean, I'm going to say he's 22nd.
Close. Good job. Joe Montana, though, is 22nd, which is crazy to even think. Kirk Cousins this season, if the Eagles, Falcons, same birds, if he goes for, let's say, 3,000 yards, Sam, he will pass Johnny Unitas, Joe Montana, Dan Fouts. Now, Russell Wilson's still playing, so he's going to have to, catch Russell at some point. Joe Flacco, he'll probably pass him. And then he need 4,000, almost 5,000 yards to pass Drew Bledsoe. That's crazy when you think about that. Now, the one person I don't think he'll ever catch, which I didn't realize, this is nuts. Tom Brady. Do you know how many yards Tom Brady has, Sam?
Tom Brady did it for 21 years. Missed one season, 20 years. I bet he's got 80,000, 85,000 this regular season.
Almost 90,000 yards, 89,214. That's nuts. And so when I look at this with Kirk Cousins, and that's why I go with this, Sam, you look at these stats. Tom Brady, we can always say he's the GOAT. Drew Brees, Peyton Manning, Brett Favre, Ben Roethlisberger. But Phillip Rivers is up there at 63,000. Well, we say, and he's 6. He's 6 on the list. He's top 10. Mm-hmm. Matt Ryan, top 10. Dan Marino, 8th. Top 10. Aaron Rodgers, 9th. He has a ring. Eli Manning has 2 rings. He's 10th. Matthew Stafford's 11th. He has a ring. John Elway has rings. Warren Moon, I don't think he ever had one. Fran Tarkenton never won one. So if we look at those top 10, Phillip Rivers is in the top 10, though, but he never won. Same thing with Dan Marino. But Dan Marino is kind of like a legend. But do you think Phillip Rivers has, Hall of Fame? Do you think he'll be in the Hall of Fame and would be considered one of the greatest just because of the yards?
No. Hall of Fame, maybe. But he's not going to have the same reputation
So you
And the
think
guys
Eli
are
Manning's
great.
reputation will always be better than Phillip Rivers because he won?
Yeah.
Because they're tied
Yeah,
together in the draft.
I do. I do think the quarterback legacy is built around rings. Yep.
But hockey is not. And see, that's why I go with that. Like I was looking at Kirk Cousins and I'm like, well, if Kirk Cousins keeps playing, let's just say he stays healthy, the Achilles, he comes back fine. He comes back like Adrian Peterson in Gangbusters or whatever. And he can play to get to the, like, let's say 5,000, 4,000, 3,000 yards a season, 5 more seasons. He gets up into that 60,000 group all of a sudden because he's, 20,000 yards. He needs 20,000 yards to get up there. Maybe he has a couple gangbuster seasons and he's in that 60,000 group, which is top 10. If Kirk Cousins doesn't win a ring, but he's in 60,000 yard territory, you say he makes the Hall of Fame, but he won't be considered one of the greatest without a ring. This is without a ring. 60,000 yards, top 10 without a ring.
Yeah. However you view Rivers, Ryan,
that's where Kirk Cousins will fall.
That's where he'll fall. So how do you view those guys?
Yeah, no, that's good to know. Well, we ran out of time on this one because we kind of jumped into the other ones, and I think that was a good topic though to maybe hit on. Vikings confidence today. We had Garrett Bradbury at center. We'll talk about that. But let's really quick. Let's do quick last two. What's the next two? What's the next one? Because I forgot. What's the next one?
Vikes question of the day. Just 30 seconds each. What's your confidence level 1 through 10 in Garrett Bradbury back at center this year?
I'd give him an 8. Like, I think he's been good. I think with Kevin O'Connell's offense, he wants to run the ball a little bit more, which might help Garrett Bradbury out a little bit more too. We didn't run it as much when you think about the running backs. I think I have an 8. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I would say about a 6.5, 7. He's got to stay healthy too. He's had a few more injuries lately. Yep. Third one, AAA baseball is now using a challenge system for balls and strikes. So it's not straight computer, but you can challenge balls and strikes. I believe you get minimum 3. If you have a success in the challenge, you get the challenge back. So basically it's 3 missed challenges that you get. Should MLB adopt that system?
Yes, 100% yes. When you look at some of these highlights now of, like they say, one ump missed 22 balls and strike calls in a game. I'm not going to say the name because I'm not going to bash any umps right now, at least. And I don't want to get the name wrong because I can easily say Angel Hernandez and everybody's going to be like, yep, that was him. I don't think it was him, but I did see one where they said 22 missed balls and strikes within like 4 innings, which I'm like, that's kind of nuts. Like, I get over an entire game, but in 4 innings, which either means you're just not paying attention or you're ready to get out of there. And so either way, I think they should also think college softball because we see that all the time where girls are throwing rise balls now. Girls are throwing different pitches, and some girls like, that's not a strike. Like, that was at my knees or that was at my neck. I think they should adopt it too. What's wrong with a challenge? You already challenge other stuff anyway. You can challenge if a girl left early. You can challenge a safer out call. Why not just challenge a couple pitches? If they don't get them, they don't get them. They're done with them. I think the MLB for sure should do it because it probably balances out some of the mistakes these umps are going to make anyway. They're human too. That's the thing. I mean, these guys are human. They're going to make mistakes. The game is going fast, but I definitely think that should be something that's added in there. I don't know. What do you think?
I just don't know if 3, I mean, even if you can keep challenging, if you get it right, I don't know if it's going to be enough. If guys are missing 20 calls in a game.
That's rare though, but yeah, 22 in an inning or in a game. Yeah.
At some point, you might just need to go straight computer, have computer make all the decisions, because if that's the amount that's getting missed, there's still going to be a lot of bad calls. So I think maybe this is a starting point, and you may have to expand it to become even more accurate as time goes by.
I'm not a fan of computers just because it takes human jobs out of it, but also I'm not a fan of computers because computers also take angles and everything into account that sometimes you take the human element out of baseball when you do that, because now guys aren't going to swing at the close ones. And you're going to make it way too easy on batters. Like, I think pitchers still need the benefit of the doubt with the corners. I think that, some of that stuff, the eye test, like, don't just think that I'm going to give you this ball because it's close, like swing. Like, I don't want to take that out of it because then where do we go from there? And the same thing with football. Like, I do not want them to, because everybody's like, well, let's put a microchip in the football and then that'll tell us where the ball was. No, let's leave the human element in it because that's what makes games great and that's what makes them fun. And then, as far as the betting side of it, that's what sometimes, hey, like if that guy makes that call, you lose. If that guy made that call, you win. Basketball, same thing. Don't make everything reviewable. Let these guys be humans. If you miss the call, you miss the call. Hit him on the arm, hit him on the arm. Like, It is what it is. Challenge it if you want to. But I'm Ron Johnson. That's Sam Ekstrom. This was the Ron Johnson Show on Locked On Sports Minnesota. I want to thank everybody. And also make sure you find Locked On Sports Minnesota 24/7 on our YouTube live stream for your favorite Minnesota sports shows around the clock. It's Vikings, Wild, Wolves, Twins, Gophers, and Lynx at all hours of the day. And we have multiple shows, the basketball party, the football parties, and as well as the Friday roundtable. I'm Ron Johnson. Again, that's Sam Ekstrom. I want to thank you guys. Have a great week.